Manchester United set to sign new left-back in January, with Luke Shaw apparently not the preferred option going forward. INEOS apparently looking at Eze from Crystal Palace in a deal worth around £68 million. And some reports this evening suggesting that Antony could be set to leave the club on loan. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this evening's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please also subscribe to the channel. I'm live every day at 8:30 and 6 PM UK time. Make sure you get involved for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Right. Let's start the show off by talking a little bit about Luke Shaw then. And I want you to let me know in the comments section below, can Manchester United rely on Luke Shaw? Is he the best option going forward? And if you think he isn't, who should Manchester United sign as the new left-back? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So this is coming up from multiple different journalists in the last couple of hours, saying that apparently Manchester United have decided that signing a new left-back to cover Luke Shaw is the top priority in the January transfer window. It says Manchester United are currently looking at Antony Robinson from Fulham, Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth, I believe. Yeah, Bournemouth. And then also Bradley Locko. I'm going to be honest, I've not heard of Bradley Locko. I've heard of the other two, obviously Milos Kerkez and Robinson from Fulham. But yeah, I think we all can agree that a left-back is required. We should have signed one in the summer, really. Obviously, Mazraoui can play at left-back. Obviously, Diogo Dalot can play at left-back. So I think Manchester United thought, you know what, let's just risk it. Let's see how we get on. But I think we can all agree that a left-back is now becoming a priority position. Now, for me personally, I would like to see Harry Amas get given a chance. Do I think he's ready yet? I'm not sure. He was playing last night for the England under-18s. So, you know, he is getting valuable experience, but is he ready to join first-team football? I don't know is the honest answer. I mean, maybe he is. He's only 17 years of age, but we've seen, obviously, Lamine Yamal absolutely tearing it up in the Euros for the Spanish national team. So, in some ways, age is just a number. But yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't seen Harry Amas play enough to know whether he is ready to be starting games for Manchester United. I think he deserves at least a chance. I mean, when we play Barnsley, I think it's next week, is it? We play Barnsley in the League Cup at home. Like, if you're not going to play Harry Amas against Barnsley at home, then I'm sorry. Like, when are you ever going to play him? Like, he should get some game time then. You know, I'd like to see Toby Collier start that game. I'd maybe even like to see Ethan Wheatley start that game. But in hindsight, knowing Erik ten Hag, I would not be surprised at all if Erik ten Hag picks his best players for that game against Barnsley. And the reason for that is Manchester United are a cup side now. Like, we are, aren't we? We're a cup side. And Erik ten Hag will want to win the League Cup. He'll want to win the FA Cup because he knows he's not going to win the Premier League. He knows that he's probably going to struggle to even get top four in the Premier League. But he knows that, you know, in a cup competition where you only have to play a team once, anything can happen. And we could easily win the League Cup or easily win the FA Cup again, you know, like we did last season and the season before. So, yeah, I would really, really like to see Harry Amas get given some opportunities. I think Luke Shaw is done for me personally. I feel a little bit sorry for him in the sense that, you know, before he had that terrible injury, Luke Shaw was a quality player. I really like him. I think he is a good footballer, but you can't shy away from Luke Shaw's injury record. Like, it is absolutely mad. So last season, Luke Shaw missed 34 games through injury. The season before that, 18. Season before that, 18. Season before that, 23. And then you go back even further and he missed 32 games one season, 30 another, 64 obviously when he had that leg break. And then the season before that, he missed 31. So, yeah, I mean, in his kind of 10 years or so at Manchester United, he's only had one season where he hasn't missed like 20 games through injury. So I think the writing's on the wall for Luke Shaw. He's 29 years of age now. We stupidly gave him this new contract a couple of seasons ago. I think he's here till 2027. Yeah, he is. 4 more years of Luke Shaw. That was a dumb decision by the Glazers. Absolutely terrible decision by John Murtagh and Richard Arnold to give Luke Shaw a new contract in April last year. Makes zero sense, especially with his injury record. You know, he's been here for a decade, Luke Shaw, and in that decade, he's missed more than 50% of our games, which is absolutely mad. And then to think at the end of his contract, instead of saying, you know what, Luke, thank you for everything, goodbye, they thought, you know what, let's give him a new deal. Let's give him a 4-year contract. And these are the things that we expect INEOS to not do going forward. Like, it's kind of the equivalent if at the end of Harry Maguire's contract, INEOS turn around and say, you know what, Harry, we'll give you a 4-year deal. Like, it's not going to happen. Personally, I'd be absolutely stunned if they kept Luke Shaw beyond this season. But yeah, so we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But Luke Shaw has missed so many games now. We can't rely on him. And that's why this story coming out in the last couple of hours suggests that effectively Manchester United, are now prioritising a new left back. And I would agree with that 100%. We need a new left back. We need it desperately because Luke Shaw's unreliable. Malacia disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't know what's happened to him. Apparently he's back in training, but he's not going to be available till like November or something. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But hopefully we manage to get this new left back in January. Like I'm expecting Man United to do business in January, I think. Because obviously we did well in the summer, but if you actually think about it, a lot of the players we signed in the summer was more like of a squad depth thing, wasn't it? You know, you signed Xerxes, who is going to be the backup to Højlund. You signed De Ligt, and Lenny Yoro, who are both great, but they're both squad players, aren't they? They're both going to rotate with like each other effectively. And then you signed Mazraoui, who obviously is a quality player, but again, I still think he's like a squad player. Manuel Ugarte, I'd hope will be the starting option, but I think the rest of them probably are squad players realistically. Lumen says, I'm scared for the game on Saturday. I'm feeling pretty confident for the game against Southampton. I saw a stat earlier on today, right? Apparently Manchester United haven't lost away to Southampton in over 15 games. So that's literally like 6 or 7 years, maybe even longer, the last time we lost to Southampton away from home. I think we'll beat Southampton. Their team is really, really poor. I think they've only got 1 goal so far in the Premier League and have lost all 3 games. So yeah, it would be an absolute nightmare if Man United managed to lose against Southampton on the weekend. It would be an absolute nightmare situation. But you never know. Man United always surprise us, don't they? But moving on from that, I want to talk a little bit about Eze, a player I really like, somebody who I think would be a quality signing for Manchester United. This story's coming out in the last couple of hours by multiple different journalists in the UK, Manchester Evening News, other places, Samuel Luckhurst, all of the different kind of Manchester-based outlets, saying that apparently Manchester United want to sign Eze next year. Apparently he has a release clause of £68 million, which will become active in January. I like Eze. I think he's quality. I would like to see him at Manchester United. Is he worth £68 million? I don't know, is the honest answer. I mean, what did we pay for Antony? How much did we pay for Antony? Let me double check. I think it was 80 something. Is that right? So for Antony, we paid, it's in euros there, 95 million euros. What's that in pounds? About 80 million pounds? I don't know. I mean, Eze is what, 26, 68 million pounds. I think that sounds like a little bit much to me personally, but you know, when Man United is spending 80, 85 million pounds on Antony, Eze for 68 doesn't actually sound that bad. Yeah, I would really, really like to see him at Manchester United. I think he'd be an absolutely unbelievable signing. Where does he fit into the team, though? That's the thing that kind of confuses me. Obviously, he is an attacking midfielder, and Bruno's an attacking midfielder. So, I don't really get how that would work. We signed Mason Mount for, what was it, £50 million? Something like that. And he's just, I know he was injured a lot of the season, but Mason Mount's effectively Bruno's backup. So what happens if you bring in Eze is, that's the bit that I don't really understand about that. And I think, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with Eze, but I think there'll be a lot of interest in him. I wouldn't be surprised if a Manchester City go after someone like Eze. He seems like a kind of Manchester City type signing, a big player from a rival Premier League team. Obviously Manchester City sold loads of players in the summer. They've got quite a lot of money to spend, I think, in the next window. So yeah, that's one to keep an eye on, especially if someone like De Bruyne leaves Man City next summer. I could see Eze going to Man City personally. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. Apparently Man United are scouting him. Apparently they would like to bring him to Old Trafford in a deal worth around £68 million release clause. So yeah, we'll wait and see how that one materialises. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Julian says the summer transfer window was good, but we needed more exits. I think we did pretty well on the exits front, to be honest, mate. I think we did very well. We did better than I thought we were going to do in relation to getting rid of players. If you look at the players that we got rid of, right? We got rid of so many in the summer. I was relatively happy with the outgoings. I was a little bit disappointed, if I'm going to be critical, on the ingoings. I think we could have signed a couple more players. I think we could have got another left back. Maybe we could have got another attacking player, obviously with Sancho and Pellistri going. We didn't sign any more wingers, and Mason Greenwood going. We got rid of 3 right wingers, Greenwood, Sancho and Pellistri, and we didn't sign a single replacement. Like, that was a little bit of a concern for me. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more in reinforcements in those areas. And if you look at the players that we let go of, we got rid of McTominay, Greenwood, Wan-Bissaka, Campoala, Hannibal, Pellistri, Alvaro Fernandez, Donny van der Beek, Varane, Omari Forson, Sancho, Martial, Brandon Williams, Amrabat. We got rid of 14 players in the summer. That's a lot. And we only signed Lenny Yoro, Ugarte, De Ligt, Xerxes and Mazraoui. So we got rid of 14 players and we signed 5. I don't think that's that good, to be honest. I was still happy with the window. I thought we paid good prices. I thought, we managed to clear a lot of wages. But there's still a lot of work to do. There's still a hell of a lot of work to do. And that's why I'm expecting Man United to act in the January window, act next summer. It's going to take 2 or 3 windows. It's not going to be an overnight thing. We're not going to immediately go and spend $500 million and build a whole new squad. Like, that's just simply not going to happen. Josh says, I can see City going for Musiala or Florian Wirtz. Mate, I wouldn't. Nothing would surprise me with Man City. They've got a lot of money to spend, obviously, after selling Alvarez and not really spending any money in the summer. So, yeah, you're probably right. Turbo says, why don't we bring in Eze as a Rashford replacement? Yeah. That could be interesting. Somebody says, last time you said we do not need a right winger. That was before we got rid of Sancho, mate. I said if we get rid of Sancho, we need to strengthen that area. Because at the point of recording that video, we still had Sancho. We still had Pellistri. Whereas now, we only have Antony and Ahmad. So my preference was always to try and sign a versatile attacking player. Someone who can play as a left winger, a striker, and as a right winger. That would have been my preference. Who that player is, I'm not sure off the top of my head. But there are, players out there who can operate across the whole of the front three. So, yeah, that would have been my preference if I was INEOS. I would have looked at someone who can play in all 3 positions. Yeah. Nigel says, what's going on with Man City's charges? Mate, I don't know. I have no idea. Apparently, we're going to find out by January if Man City are going to be, charged. I think they'll just keep prolonging it somehow, Man City have got so much money. They'll have the best lawyers. They'll just continually prolong it. Yeah. But we'll wait and see what happens. Hopefully they get what's coming to them if they are proven guilty. But the problem I have is I think they're going to really struggle to prove them guilty because they can just keep pushing back, making up excuses. So yeah, that's what's going on with the Man City stuff. Effectively, not much. Josh says the case officially starts in November. Okay. Yeah, I think we were told that it would be around January that we'd find out, I think. Yeah, I think it's around January that we'll find out. So not that much longer to wait. But yeah, here's the stat. So it says Manchester United have not lost any of their last 15 away games against Southampton. That's a record you don't want to break, innit? To be unbeaten against Southampton in 15 games, you can't go and lose against them now. Yeah, you just can't. But keeping on the topics of wingers, there's a lot of people linking us to Real Betis winger Asan Dio. I'm going to try and say his name. Asan Dianu. I've probably said his name terribly. I do apologise. But there's lots of people in the last couple of hours saying that apparently Man United are looking at Real Betis right winger Asan Diano. Let's hope that's right. I've tried my best. I'll be honest, I've never heard of him. I don't really watch that much Spanish League football. I'm going to go and do a bit of research on him after the video and kind of see what he's like and see what he's all about. But it looks like the priority positions for January and the summer are the left back, another midfielder and a winger, apparently, which I would agree with. I think, obviously, the fact that Jadon Sancho's gone and the fact that Pellistri's gone and the fact that Mason Greenwood's gone, basic maths would say 3 players have left. You need to bring in somebody. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Let me just have a little sip of my tea. Oh, it's very hot. People are saying that they reckon Man City will get away with it. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised. I would honestly be stunned if Man City get, proven guilty of these charges. Whether they are guilty or not, I don't know. Obviously, I have no idea of the details of the case, but yeah, I would be very, very surprised if they get proven guilty. Very surprised, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. You never know, do you? Like, hopefully something happens and it does all kind of turn around and Man City get what's coming to them, but I just think it seems unlikely at the moment, personally. Right, let's move on from that, though. We're not here to talk about Man City all afternoon. Okay, let's talk a little bit about... Talk about Victor Lindelof quickly. So there's a story coming out from Samuel Luckner saying that apparently Victor Lindelof is set to be released by Manchester United at the end of the season if he decides to stay beyond the January transfer window. So Lindelof's contract expires in June. Man United wanted to sell him in the summer, but he was injured. Apparently, Man United are going to try and sell him in January, but if he refuses to go, he will effectively leave in June when his contract expires. And Samuel Luckhurst is also reporting that apparently Johnny Evans is effectively playing the last year of his professional career. So Johnny Evans' contract also expires in June. He's just retired from international football, Johnny Evans, and the expectation is in June when his contract expires, he will retire from football altogether. So Johnny Evans and Lindelof will be gone. Maguire's contract also expires in June next year. Whether he'll still be here or not is up for debate. There is the option to extend it by 1 extra year. To be honest, if Johnny Evans and Lindelof go, which they are, I probably would give Harry Maguire 1 extra year, because if we don't, we'd lose 3 centre-backs all at the same point. And the only centre-backs we'd have left would be Lenny Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez. And realistically, you probably need 5 or 6 centre-backs. So if we were to let all 3 of those players leave, Lindelof, Evans and Maguire, all at the same time, Man United would have to go out and buy probably 2, if not 3 centre-backs. Whereas if you keep Maguire for 1 season, right, keep him for the 1 extra year, go and sign someone like Jared Branthwaite, you would still then have 5 centre-backs, and then the summer after you could buy another centre-back. So I think that would make more logical sense. But we'll wait and see what happens. Like, I don't really have a problem with Maguire being like a backup option, Like, I think in certain games, Harry Maguire is quite useful. Is he good enough to be starting every week for Manchester United? Probably not. But in certain matches, I think he's an all right player to have on the bench, Does he justify £200,000 a week? Probably not. Well, definitely not. But yeah, we are where we are. But yeah, that's good that Lindelof and Johnny Evans will be kind of, leaving at the end of their contracts in June. Like, it would make no logical sense to give either of them a new contract. Johnny Evans is 37, and Lindelof is, I think, 30, but just injured all the time. So yeah, that's my take on that. But obviously, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Joshua says we're still expected to continue talks with Branthwaite. Yeah, I imagine the Branthwaite deal will happen next year, I reckon. I'd be very, very surprised if it doesn't. But yeah, Fred says, do you reckon Branthwaite's back on the agenda? Yeah, mate, next summer Branthwaite, I reckon, will come to Manchester United. I'd be very, very surprised if he doesn't. Very surprised. Unless he goes to Man City or to another kind of top 4 team. Maybe if Van Dijk leaves Liverpool, maybe they'll go for Branthwaite or, something like that. But there's no way on earth Branthwaite's going to stay at Everton another year. They're bottom of the league at the moment. They've got 0 points. He's not playing, to be fair. He's injured, but still. I think he's got maybe 2 years left on his contract. Let me check. He's got 3 years left on his current contract, Jared Branthwaite. And he's apparently back at the end of September. He's got a groin injury. So, yeah, that's the situation with Branthwaite. But what was I going to say? I'm going to wrap the video up here. Feels like a good point to end the video. I will be back tomorrow at 8:30. Obviously, football starts again on Saturday, so there'll be way more content when the football is back on. It's all been a bit quiet the last week or so, but thank you for joining me regardless. I hope you all have a lovely evening. Please make sure to drop a like before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. This has been Daily Red Devil. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you all on the next one. Bye for now.